Because working extra hours won't make you a better project manager or make you a better planner. They're not going to make you more effective. They're not going to make you more efficient. But being more efficient will make you a better planner and a better project manager. And of course, that's why what I want to talk to you about today. Because that's why I'm showing you this graph. If you do not believe, you can also Google that. If you work more, your efficiency, your productivity will start to decline. Because if you work more, you start to get tired, you start to have mental exhaustion, your concentration and focus decreases. You tend to make more errors, so the quality of your work decreases. You don't have enough time to recover. You're having problems for problem solving and creativity. That will also impact your motivation and can even, in worst case, create health issues there. So keep that in mind. So what I want, and that's also part of the program, I want to make sure that you are more efficient. And that's, but to be more efficient, you need to understand those concepts and you need to have a good method and a good support to apply these things in the right way. So how you can be more efficient? Basically, your productivity is a function of your availability, the time that you work, of course, but your performance and the quality of your work. Instead of, if you work on your availability, that I'm saying working more, I'm just telling you that this is tend to drop. Mainly if you are doing that in the long term, the results will be even worse. And again, this is just an average based on data, average from different people, different situations. These can be more or less. So I'm going to teach you how to improve your performance to be more effective with the work that you do and how to improve the quality of the work that you do there. And again, what you need to do that you need to have a good method where you're going to follow the steps, because that's why, for example, in the Planner Pro program, I help you to understand the fixtures. I help you to understand what's important in the planning to make sure you can be successful. Let me give you one example. This is a timeline from a project that I've seen around from another period. What's the problem with that? First, it's a timeline in Excel. So we start to create the activity here. Then, of course, this is just one piece of that because the timeline was quite extensive. If you do that in Excel the way it is done here, it's manual work, very time consuming, very high chance of mistakes, because I'm talking about, when I talk about the plan, you need to create the task, you need to connect the task dependencies here. When you do this in Excel, there's no task dependency there. If I change something, it's very difficult to change, to see what I change and compare. Doing that in Excel does not show the critical path, very difficult to track process, and still have very limited view of options here. I'm saying to you, you should never use Excel. No, if you have a simple project, let's say if you have a very simple thing that you have 20 tests to control it, if you're doing it in Excel, is that bad? No, you can survive with Excel. But if you start to increase the projects you handle with that, for example, I mentioned this APC project, engineering, procurement, construction. Some of those projects I had 500 lines there. Automotive project, programs. In one of the programs, I had 1,000 lines, 1,000 lines to manage, because that was a program with different projects, different components, different products inside that. I had to arrange everything to make sure that works. If you try to do that in Excel like that, you're going to go crazy. But you can also see, because I've seen people say, but I have a template. I bought a template to do that in Excel. Again, this is one template that you see in Excel. Very limited options of view. It doesn't show the critical path, difficult to compare changes, high chance of making mistakes because those tests are not connected. You are typing dates manually, you are typing duration manually without interconnecting those tests, which is a problem because then you're not going to be able to identify the critical path. If you change tests, you're not going to see, don't have this full view. And remember, what you want to be a good planner and to be able to execute this in an efficient way, you need to understand this big picture here. So if you change a task in the middle of construction, you want to see what's going to happen with your startup. If you change a task here in the design, if something happened with the design in the middle, you want to see what's going to happen with your release. If something impacts, something changes here in the qualification period, you want to understand what's in the release. if you do that in Excel, you cannot see this kind of stuff. So the chance that you are going to change something in the middle, you forget the impact, it's very high in those tools. Even with those templates that you can buy it online, and they look a bit nicer, I do agree, but still very risky. What's another mistake? Okay, here is a case that the person was using an MS project. That's also one of the projects I've got involved there. What's the problem with that? Difficult to track. And that's one of the main problems that I had when I started to work as a planner. I work with this, then people ask me, okay, you have a timeline? And I say, yes, I have a timeline. But I had it very trouble to say I'm on track or not. Where should I check? Where should I review that? Because it was very challenging. And of course, I did not understand a lot at when I started, but I had to grow. And the view limitation, that's also something. This is a type of timeline that I worked for the program that I had 1,000 lines. This is the kind of automatic report I can get from MS Project there. And this is, I could provide, this is a type of report I provide my management in my reports there. I'll say, go, those 5 phases are completed. Those are the progress for the different phase. Here are where we are in the timeline. You can see this in visually. You can see this in percentage here. You can create burn down charts. What's the beautiful part of using MS Project? I get all this stuff for free. I simply organize on that one. So instead of presenting something like that, then people say, okay, I don't know. Not very nice to hear to see. Something like that, I don't know. Something like that, very difficult to see. I present something like that. One page. Okay, that's possible to figure out where you are. Here's where you are today. Here are the milestones. Here are the phases that are completed. Here is the work that we still have to do it. Very nice overview. And another very good reason to not use MS Project like that. So I'm going to showcase to uh, an efficiency case where you can see for using MS Project. This is this is what I see also in working with different peers, in overseeing different companies there. So it's a semiconductor. It's a case for a semiconductor project of around 1.5 year duration. This project has between 200 and 300 lines, so tasks in a schedule that you need to have. So if you can imagine, if you do that in Excel, that starts to drive you crazy there. So in Excel, that's to create something like that, very heavily manual work there. From creating the test to update it, if you update it at least once a month, which by the way you should to update this at least once a month, and you need to do that in Excel and you do that in MS Project. Here are the numbers and here are the calculations. So if you say I'm going to update this every month take 2 hours. I'm taking 18 months because it's 1.5 year duration. So you see an amount of hours. To start with the first project there, so let's assume 2 days that you need to create it. In reality, you might need more, but okay. And what if you use MS Project? Well, to create, you need around 5 hours. To update, it takes you half an hour between 18 months. So you get to a point that reduce your manual work, your low value added, because this is manual work that's have very low added value there. It's 4.5 hours per month or 14 working days in 18 months. 14 working days, it's almost a full month of work. And when I'm presenting you so those numbers, then because sometimes I hear, oh, you are very efficient with use of your time, and sometimes I hear from that people using timelines in Excel. Well, by default, you can imagine if we are managing 3 projects, and that's kind of more or less what we do where I am right now, 3 or 4 projects. I have more than half of day per month extra than you. And that's not considering something very important because this is assuming that you have 100% of effectiveness or 100% of productivity of the use of your time. In reality, that's not true because no one's going to produce 100% of the time. Why? Because we take breaks, we go to the bathroom, we stop to drink water, we talk with people, we have meetings, we have idle time, we have contact switching. Sometimes you just need to stop and breathe. So in average, a good person that has a good productivity there has a productivity between 60 and 80%. 80% is quite good. 60%, okay, it's still normal, still acceptable. Of course, those productive levels will change depending on the industry, depending on work what you're doing. If you have writing or self development, can be higher. If you are managing something like a project manager, can be even lower, close to 60%, because then that means you have more meetings, you spend more time talking with other people, and so on. But does that mean that just the two you can increase the efficiency of what you're doing there in a very amazing way here. That's what I'm talking about. Without working extra, what's more important? I'm telling you that you can gain very easy 1 day of work for if you're in a situation like that. What if you handle big projects like I mentioned, construction projects, a program that I have 1,000 lines to manage there? That will be even more. That means that you can produce much more. You can deliver much better information to your management. You can in a much faster, much precise way. Not talking about that you're going to minimize, not talking about only the waste, but you're going to manage projects in a much more effective way because it's very easy to identify critical paths, constraints, see what's going to happen, plan different case scenarios. So what I'm trying to do with this program, that's why I call it Planner Pro, is to make sure that you can be really more effective. I'm going to teach you the concepts that you need to be more effective. I'm going to explain to give you different cases so you do not end up in a situation that I managed and I send it like that. But if you use MS Project, which is one of the two I'm suggesting here, your efficiency can grow a lot in what you're doing compared with Excel there. So why selecting Excel? This is a big list I'm not going to mention, but something that's also worthwhile mention. Excel, MS Project, why selecting MS Project, not Excel? MS Project is one of the top 6 schedule management softwares used worldwide. And I mentioned that I use that in the construction industry, in the automotive industry, in the semiconductor industry. There are other options. Yes, there are other options. But very important for you. The foundation planning knowledge that you create and you develop with an MX project tool, for example, it can be replicated in most of the tools. There, most of the tools who have all those functionalities, they are going just to appear in different ways than I show you in the Planner Pro there. So keep that in mind there. So